Hello and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we will be talking about the president who was almost eaten by Japanese cannibals in World War II. George H.W. Bush, aka George Bush Sr. or just George Bush, but we will be calling him just Bush for this video, lived from 1924 to 2018 and was the 41st president of the U.S. from 1989 to 1993. However, he was the last U.S. president to ever serve in combat. Now, let's start our story. To understand the incident, we first need to go back to 1941, when the U.S. declared war on Japan and joined World War I. Bush wanted to join the Navy, but he was still a 17-year-old in college. But once he graduated at 18 years old, he joined the U.S. Navy, but by then he was still a reserve. Then, a year later, he became a Navy aviator. He was rumored to be the youngest naval aviator at the time. Remember, he was only 19 by this point. Then, in 1944, at age 20, he became a pilot for the campaign of island hopping against Japan. What was island hopping? Well, I explained it in my World War II Part 3 video, but basically, island hopping, aka leapfrogging, was a strategy used by mainly the U.S. to fight against Japan in the Pacific. It was a slow and gradual process and would cost both sides tens of thousands of lives. However, Bush then fought in the Battle of Chichijima. This happened in late September 1944, and this is where the fun begins. He, his crew, and other planes were tasked on destroying a Japanese radio tower. The Japanese shot his plane so much that parts of the wing flew off, but he managed to critically damage the radio tower. Finally, after that, he turned his plane to the sea, preparing to bail out. When they had reached far enough, he and his two crew members parachuted out. Bush smashed against the water. A bigger problem for him now was that he was struggling to swim up, so he had to fight against the water. Luckily, he landed just meters away from a life raft. The bigger problem for him now was that the wave pushed him closer and closer to the Japanese. He got so close that the Japanese had actually spotted him at one point. Luckily for him again was that other fighter aircraft had protected him. Then, what felt like an eternity later, he was rescued by a U.S. submarine named the USS Finback. When he asked where his crewmates were, the rescuers responded that they didn't know, and his crew had gone missing. Bush was lucky to have survived, as all the other aviators were never seen alive again. 8 of them were captured by the Japanese, and these 8 would get stabbed and beaten. Then, they would be beheaded by the orders of one Lieutenant General Yoshio Tachibana. The worst part was that livers from 4 of these aviators were used to feed the Japanese. The Japanese thought it was good stomach medicine. Bush and the other U.S. survivors never actually knew that the Japanese ate the human livers until 2003. In 2003, a book published named Flyboys had told the whole public, including Bush himself, of the gruesome deaths of these 8 aviators. Anyways, Bush continued fighting the Japanese until Japan surrendered in September 1945. That same month, he was honorably discharged from the Navy as the war had ended. A year later, in August 1946, the Japanese men were tried before the U.S. The 4 that were a big part in the incident were sent to be executed by hanging. Other Japanese men that at least had some relation with the incident were sent to, at max, 8-year prison sentences. Bush eventually died in 2018, over 74 years after the time when he was almost eaten by Japanese cannibals in Chichijima. For any of you who are curious, the incident is named the Chichijima incident or Okasawara incident. Thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.